Can you kind of share that experience relatively briefly, or as briefly as you like, but more importantly, what that experience may signal for ministries, churches, other Christian organizations going forward?
I think I want to start with the end question here. What I think it signals is this effort to suffocate people of traditional values is really what this is about. It's really about, just imagine you got a big wet tarp, white wet tarp, and it's just stuck on you over this room. And you can't get any light and you can't get any air. What eventually happens to you? Maybe not immediately, but what eventually happens to you is you die. I can't get any air. There's no light here. And I think that's what happens too often in Western open democratic cultures, is that people just say, you know, really, I don't like you people of traditional values. I'm not enamored with that. I don't like your rules. I don't like these ideas. I think they hinder XYZ group or this bunch, and I just want to get rid of all of it. So we formed this group, National Committee for Religious Freedom, got it stood up. It's a 501c4 organization. We have Christians in it, Jews in it, Muslims in it, Hindus in it. It was for all religions. Formed, opened a bank account, no problem. Within less than 45 days, I show up at the bank to put a deposit in it to get it up and going. Lady says, I'm sorry, that account's been closed. And it says here on the note that it was done at corporate. It is not going to be reversed, and I'm not supposed to say anything about it. Period. That's all I got here on the computer. And so I go, wait, what? What did we do? Doesn't say. We had money in here. We didn't bounce any checks. What? It just says it's closed. We're not going to reconsider. Done at corporate. That's all I can say. And so, you know, we kind of going. Now, here's what we did that was different, in that we just stood up and started fighting about it. And we thought that's the very reason we formed the group, is so that people would fight for their own religious freedom. And so we said, you know, this isn't right. And so we started pushing, and finally, and the guy that was running the National Council at that time had worked at J.P. Morgan Chase previously at a very low level. So he kind of understood a little bit of the organization. He started pushing to try to get an answer out of them. They said, well, we want you to disclose all your contributors and who you're going to give money to. And we're going, well, wait a minute. You don't require that of anybody else, and you shouldn't require it of us in doing that. Okay. Well, we're concerned that you're going to be doing terrorist financing and money laundering. And I'm kind of going, really? I've had top secret security clearance for 20 years, and you're concerned now that I'm going to do that sort of the thing? And then another guy that had worked for me that now worked for J.P. Morgan got all he said, look, it was just bad consumer services, bad customer services. That's what we did. And at the end of it, they said, well, you're a known political figure, and we're concerned about that funding, and that you might be shoveling money to other places. They had a legal term of art that they used for it, and I'm not thinking of it right now. So they end up giving us, starting no answers, 5 answers, none of which any of it made sense. And the account stayed closed. What we did, though, is we went public with it, started fighting about it. And when we did, I had over 15 different traditional values organizations, parachurch groups contact me saying this had happened to them, but they just went and found another bank because they just thought, well, you know, we just don't want to stir things up. It's going to hurt our fundraising if we get a black eye over this. They said, we just didn't fight. But they'd tell me privately, yeah, this happened to us. And I thought, well, that's the problem. Nobody's fighting. You got it. If we will stand up and fight, we will win. Now, it's going to be rough. It's going to be difficult. But we've got to stand up and fight these cases, or else your ground's going to keep getting smaller, like the coach's example. You're going to be backed up to the cliff, and then there's no place to go but to fight. Much better to fight it at a much earlier stage. And that's what I really want to encourage people, because it's not just debanking now. We've got a regular monthly call of Religious Freedom in America advocates. Just had a lady on that their group that heads the crisis pregnancy centers nationally. Their insurance company said, we're not going to insure you anymore for director and officers insurance because we don't like what you guys do. They actually said it, that they were going to do that way. So it's de-insurancing, deplatforming, debanking, and it's this effort to suffocate. And we've got every right on our side. We've got the free exercise clause, and now we've got a Supreme Court that's defined it and said, you have this right to do this. I don't care what other people think about it. You have a free constitutional right to exercise your faith. But we got to fight for it.